Welcome everybody, welcome to Flight Pass. My name is Simon and we are talking today about the Battle of Waterloo. We've got ourselves to the eve of the 16th of June. I'm just going to wrap up a few details about this concentration of forces in this area. This is live on Twitch and we are, so you can join me and you can put your comments down on the left hand side. Be part of the show. You can also join me on the flight simulator. We're on European West. For everybody on YouTube, these will be popping up every 20 minutes. Will be a new discussion, and it is just the discussion. It's never edited. These things. It's just you all discovering it at the same time. I'm discovering things. And so where we got to then on the 15th is we're in this area down here, and we've been discussing the reaction of the Prussians and the Anglo-Dutch under Wellington's, what their reaction are to the information's pouring in a series of messengers about what's going on down here as Wellington crosses the border. Now, William O'Connor Morris, he's a guy who believes that Wellington was given information that any attack across the Sambre, which is this river down here. We're looking currently where this town city here is Charleroi. You'll see the river below us is the Sambre, and we've come up from a town called Beaumont in a series of columns. There's 3 columns of French columns, and they've been moving up this way to Charleroi, and then once they got to Charleroi, Napoleon has divided his army. He's given basically Ney almost 2 corps to go up on this left blue line to capture the crossroads at Quatre, and Grouchy has got the 2 other corps control to push up on his right flank to push the Prussians back to Sombref. William O'Connor Morris, he believes that one of the reasons why Wellington was not reacting to some messages he was receiving was because he had been he personally had been given some information that any attack across the Sambre from this direction would be a feint. And it's an argument that Napoleon was fully aware of the contacts that Wellington had in Paris. Remember, the border was kind of open. The Allies hadn't actually declared war on France. They kind of declared war on Napoleon himself. So the borders had been opened. They had been closed by Napoleon prior to the campaign, but it's believed that some information was being sent via Wellington's known contacts. Information somehow was getting some disinformation, basically was getting passed to Wellington to say that this attack was going to be wrong. Zieten, who is the corps commander down here, the Prussian corps commander, he was awoken at around about 4 o'clock by a warning cannon that was fired from this place called Fontaine-l'Evêque, which we can see here. That signals because the left flank were facing south now. They were pushing up through Thuin and Lobs, and de Erlon was pushing up to Binche. Now, Binche we talked about in the last episode was important because it was in between Charleroi and Mons, And so this fitted in that any information of a French attack going up to this town here could signify that it wasn't the left flank of the French, but it could possibly be the central column of the French, or even possibly the right-hand column of the French. And you can see that strategically, the plan that Napoleon has put in place is brilliant. He cuts off this road here to stop communication between Mons and Charleroi, and he's forcing the First Corps back, and they pour back through Charleroi, and for some reason they don't decide that they're not going to defend Charleroi. The fort here is probably quite sort of degraded. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's too far forward. But we know that the possible belief is that the Prussians and the British had a meeting at a place called Thielmont, which is now called Tienen, which is a town to the east of Brussels, and they probably agreed on some points of concentration. And it seems to be that once the warning shot was put into place, that this Sombref here would be the concentration point for the Prussians. It was an important place because this road here, which we're going along now, leads east-west and comes to a place called Nivelles, and then eventually will go over to the further to the town of Mons. And this makes these two towns important because these would be the two towns. Your Sombref on one side would be the concentration point for the Prussians. Nivelles would be a good concentration point for some of the British Anglo-Dutch, and that then subsequently makes this crossroads here very significant because it links the two together. So that's the sort of situation we've got. So from Wellington's point of view, even though he's receiving messages from Zieten, he has Zieten writes that he's written a German message to Blücher, and Blücher is in a town, his headquarters he brought from forward from Liège to Namur, and he wrote a message also at the same time to Wellington in French. And we believe that they both arrived around about the same sort of time, sort of 9 o'clock in the morning, around about that sort of time. Historically, though, Wellington has denied that this message occurred. It's just, I think, is in his nature, and there's probably a little bit of politics after the event kind of stuff. But it's likely that he did receive information. He did receive this talk that had been attacked, but he doesn't have a clue about the sort of numbers that's going on, and he doesn't react to it because he has probably been told that this is a feint, and that's possibly what he's doing. Now the problem is, so later on, Blücher confirms these orders. So the message has gone to Blücher at Namur, and then Namur to Blücher has then sent a message to Wellington. And in that message, Blücher basically says, I'm going to enact my concentration, or probably a pre-planned concentration, and I'm going to get myself to Sombref. At this point, Wellington is then receiving information from Mons. Zieten's sent a messenger that way as well. He sent it to down the sort of chain of command. Mons reported to the Prince of Orange, which he was his headquarters at Braine-le-Comte, which is this village over this way here. And so Wellington then receives information from the people in Mons, and of course this means that he now, with the information coming from Mons, it's likely now that the main attack is from Charleroi. And by the way, you can see, I just noticed, by the way, you can see the difference between photogrammic imagery and non-photogrammic imagery. And there's a line, look, going down here. Now, presumably on one side, we're going to get actual. There seems to be a difference in the satellite imagery. Anyway, so that's got distracted there. So you can see then that Wellington waited for it to be confirmed, and so when his first orders go out, it's actually not to move down, but to concentrate. And we spoke about how that meant Poncha's division at Quatre would actually have to move to Nivelles, and he disobeys that order, so he remains at Quatre, which is important for the forthcoming few hours. But the information we're kind of getting then is that Wellington, yes, he's a cautious guy, but when he possibly gets to, we know he's going to the Duke of Richmond's ball. He's trying to be cool, calm, and collected, and all that sort of stuff. Being at a ball is really, really good because everyone knows where he is. He can, all the messengers can come to him there, and if he's got his officers already there at the ball, he can order them off as and when. It's only, I think, the urgency may get to him in the evening, and that's when they try to hurry people along. Yeah, so he's about to go to this ball. He's had lunch or dinner with the Prince of Orange, probably discussing what's going on. He has these sets of messages coming in, and he orders his divisions to move to their assembly points, and we believe that they were sent out at around about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Now remember, that would have to get, if he's getting down to Poncha, getting his orders, it might be that he might receive those orders at around about 8 o'clock in the afternoon, and he refuses it in the evening. So it's an important time, and but he also knows that he's also been seeing French cavalry coming up this road here to Frasnes, and there's been some fighting in this area. I think Wellington is very much of the mindset that the main attack is going to come through Mons at this time. Mons would be the central route of the attack. So that's his mindset for most of the 15th of June. That shows why he hasn't committed any troops down to this area. And he's waiting for that news from the Mons section. That news, he doesn't get confirmation until midnight. He tells Muffling, who is the Prussian liaison officer with his staff, that he has received news from Mons, from General Dornberg, and who reports that Napoleon has turned towards Charleroi with his forces, and there is no longer any enemy in front of him. And so and Muffling says that he then says to him, orders for the concentration of my army are at Nivelles and Quatre. He does mention Quatre. And he says that they've already been dispatched. And that comes from Muffling's own passages that he recorded. These orders are known as the second set. And these the ones to the concentration. They were sent out around about 10 or 11 o'clock in the evening. And what that meant was the majority of Wellington's army would have been notified within 6 hours, and therefore the majority were on the move by 8 o'clock in the morning of the 16th. Dornberg, this guy who's in charge of the Mons section, he sent out a reconnaissance deep across the border, and he met no French forces. And so this was when he puts in his message to Wellington that they were going to attack through Charleroi. And this gives Wellington the confidence now to start to concentrate his forces south and to the east. And so this is when, so we're talking midnight on the 15th, at least, when Wellington says, right, Quatre is the place where we will try to get to. Okay, that seems to be a good point to leave this. Sorry I haven't done so much flying today, but we've done a lot of flying around the battlefield in previous episodes. You can go watch that. So I'm going to leave it there. If you're watching, do all the likes and things. That'd be great. It'll help me out. And I will see you in the next one.